Hey guys, good morning, evening, afternoon. Masati here. Welcome to MOS on Sunday. Today, special topic really, overcoming data issues. Um, you know, in this world, we need stability, and that's what fathers really provide, stability. But the world, I guess, takes over. You gotta create security. You gotta make money. You gotta put food on the table. And then, back in the day, most of the fathers are not present, right? Because they're out, say, hunting and gathering. In this case, they're out. They're out making money, whatever it is, whatever that they do to support the family. And then sometimes, a lot of times, what happens is that they get so involved in what they're doing to support the family that, well, it screws up the family, and this family isn't supported. Sure, they might make the money for the family, but then the most important aspect of just being an icon, for the family, or the center of the family, or that anchor for the family, they're not there. So, and this is where society has, deep issues. Obviously, the mother, we talked about mother issues on Mother's Day. This is specifically father issues. So again, just focusing in on the father. So don't go out there. It goes like, well, mothers are this way, and all that. It's just, we're just focusing in on one aspect, again, fathers. Okay. So what happens, and this is a great, I was listening to Joe Rogan, and he was talking about why in history, whether it's great philosophers, uh, you know like great philosophers, especially great philosophers, or great emperors, or great whatever, people who have transformed societies, right? Transformed the direction of societies, human societies. They make they're really, really bad fathers, right? Not all of them, but a high percentage of them. So why would that be, right? So, and this is what I was just talking about, that icon that is so involved in, say, supporting society, has no time for, say, what's most important. So, and it's not just, well, they make bad fathers, but then the distortion of who they are as a societal figure, like king, a president, even a dictator. you know that identity, or that frequency, goes out into, say, the masses, and then it disorients the masses, because if you're supporting, say, a society, say like a king or a president, right, and you're a fucked up father, right, that pattern goes into how you're supporting society. And that's what really, really distorts societies. And then we become unstable, and as we become unstable, well, we have not just children that are, say, unstable and disoriented, and not doesn't have a secure, solid space to grow, a nurturing environment to grow in. No matter what you do, as far as laws, regulations, methods, new ways of, say, stabilizing society, it doesn't really matter, because you're showing to society that, hey, you know what, it's okay for you to be unstable, because you're running a country. That makes sense to you. Again, comment in, guys, on if that makes sense, and I'll answer your question. So we'll get into some of the details. We've got impact sessions. We've got a couple people here that have father issues. We'll talk about the father issues, and maybe some other issues that they might have as well. And this also gives you an opportunity for you to understand what frequencies are all about, or what becoming exponential intelligence is about, right? And I just want to talk a little bit about that. Should we talk about that, or should we bring him on? I'll talk about it in just a bit. I'll talk about it right now. Okay, so let's make it an experiential experience. Let's take a deep breath in. So what that means is that, you know, if you were a leader that is exponentially intelligent in this scenario, you would have, say, a fantastic, you could support society in that way, but then not forget about your children. In fact, looking at, say, the problems and issues that your kids have, or your cellular family has, right? Your current family. If you have issues, it could be with your partner, or it could be with your kids, whatever it is. Those, if you could extrapolate the problems that you're having at that level, at your nuclear family, you're going to probably have the same issues at a mass level. So again, whether you're a CEO, whether you're a leader of a country, or a leader of a religious organization, or a leader of anything, whatever happens at a nuclear level will happen to you at a grander scale. So just think of that. So this is why the leaders that are revered aren't so hot to me in my perspective, because again, they're destroying the family, the human family, not just their family, but they're destroying, say, the human family. And that's where everybody goes, well, we all got to love each other, we all got to do this, we all got to do that, and we got to be politically correct. That's all bullshit. I'm not saying we shouldn't love each other, but when you're forcing people to love each other, just like in a nuclear family compared to, say, a mass family like the human species, it's all the same. Whenever you force something, it never really works out. Nature doesn't work that way. Nature creates frequencies that allow you to, say, attract those things that support you, right? And detract, right? Those things that don't support you. So now what you're doing in a nuclear family, or again, as a human society, is you're forcing what's not good for you. And then you're forcing those people to, say, swallow what's not good for them, to go, oh, this is the way it is. Imagine that, generation after generation. It really destroys the fabric of society, the fabric of family. Okay. All right, so we'll jump into, say, the details with our lovely participants here. And again, guys, I'm not as I work on you all individually. If you have similar issues, if you're watching this live or on a recording, the benefits are there for you as well. It's great not just to learn here, but also, say, adapt to the frequencies. And that's what makes Masati Live really, really say, important for you. Because it's not just something that changes your mental state. It's something at a very, very deep level. It's a frequency level. So we'll go to Selma, then Shani, and then James here. All right, Selma, guess you're up first. How are you?
Hi, Mas. I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing really well, thanks. Anything special you want to work on, huh? Or
Uh,
whatever. I can just scan you. Either way, it doesn't really matter.
sure, let's go with that. You can see
Scan
where
me,
I am.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Selma, you've done a great job. You've really come into, say, a strength of being who you are. And I can't read your past, which is really good. It's kind of grayed out. I mean, I can access your log files, but again, we just don't have time for that. So what that tells me is that your identity, just imagine yourself as, you have file folders. Okay. Take a deep breath in. One, notice your neck. So what you've done is, or just imagine that you've got a cell phone, you've got a brand new cell phone. And what you've done is you're only importing the files from your old cell phone onto your new cell phone that is important for you. That makes sense for you. So deleting your old self, basically. You're letting go, you're trading in your old phone, you're letting it go. You know how you buy a phone and you keep it for a while just to make sure all the files are imported, and then it's oh, I can trade this in now, I can let it go. So you're at that level. It's yeah, you know what, I don't need that old identity anymore. This new identity serves me really well. So congratulations on that. That's really fantastic. So what you've done. So, and again, you can feel that. Does that make sense for you?
Yes, that's very spot on, of course, because I've been, even with all the awareness and work that we're doing, I've been really hanging on or holding so tightly to that old story, old identity. I
Yeah.
couldn't let it go. But yeah, I'm feeling I'm finally stepping into that. I'm just releasing it.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yes. Well, you're not releasing it. You've already released it, which is really great. But then where you are today is okay, well, if I've released it, then what identity, or what am I going towards? Because before, you had an identity of being a woman, for example, a distorted version of being a woman in this case, specifically, because there's a masculine, say, intricacy. There's a masculine web around, say, feminine qualities that you had in the past. That makes sense for you? Okay.
Totally.
So, yeah. So again, you're a beautiful woman, but again, that thread or that mesh of masculinity inside you, for whatever reason, we're not going to get into that just because of time. So you've moved that mesh out, but that mesh, so to speak, supported you, right? So now it's like, well, what is an icon of a strong female? And that's the key. And you're looking around society, and this is where, for you, society, even like, say, father patterns, because you're looking around society and you're seeing that men, in this case, because we're talking about daddy issues, it's like, shit, that's not a real man. That's not a real man. That's not a real man. It's like, well, if they're not real men, then how can I identify, or how can I reference myself as a woman if I'm not seeing a real man? But from Barcelona to here on the flight over, Faye and I, we watched The Intern, and it's really a cute movie. It's really a cute movie, and it's like, where have all the men gone? So again, in your scenario, there's no solid icon of females, and there's no solid icon of males. Okay, so you kind of feel like a void, so to speak, to me, especially in the groin area. Take a deep breath in. All right. By the way, I saw that message, Demi. Thanks. It works. Okay. So what that means is that void has to be filled in, and this is what I'm helping you with. So instead of having outside reference points on defining who you are, okay, I talked about this on the 18-day hyper meditations on the self-healing back, actually. Instead of defining who you are from the outside, it's like, oh, I'm that. You are defining your innate nature of what a woman should be in today's society, not yesteryear, but today's society, on what a woman should be. So congratulations on that. At first, it feels really awkward because there's not a lot of women. You're probably like 0.00001% of those people in, of the population that are really, say, solid icons of being a woman. So again, it might feel awkward. You might feel awkward being a woman or being around women. Okay. Certainly with, men is, you've cleaned up your father issues, really. This is why you've gotten to this level of where you are. Yeah. Take a deep breath in. So some of you, a lot of you women, again, even men, you're falling into this identity of this void. So I just want to talk about that after your session here. Take a breath in, hon. So let's fill in that void that should have been naturally inherent in you. So that aspect of you, that programming of you, let's say initiate that. So you start to feel being a woman, a strong icon of what a woman should be in today's society from the inside out. So you resonate as a woman. You're not just thinking, or you're going, well, I should do this, I should wear this clothing, I should do this, and then people, that'll make me feel like that woman that I need to be. It doesn't work like that. In XI, it's a cellular identity of womanhood, which changes your hormonal structure. It allows you to stay younger. It allows you to stay more vibrant. It allows you to, keep your shape. So a lot of, again, great benefits at being a frequency referenced woman. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not, but does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Everything you said makes sense. Yeah. And yes, definitely losing my father at a young age affected all that you mentioned.
Okay. So, that gives me a better. So when you said losing your father at a young age, so right now what you're doing, okay, that's why. So you're looking at men, not just like, possible relationships or anything like that, but you're looking at men actually to fulfill all the all the need of a father figure. So it's not going to be a void, and I think that's where that void comes in for you, hon. Okay, I didn't get that part. So that void, again, when kids lose their father quite young, they have that void in them. So that void gets fulfilled, which is really amazing for you. So despite not having a physical father, the frequency of having a fulfilled childhood with the father can actually come in for you. Right? And again, it's a completely fulfilling feeling for a woman. And if you ever decide to have kids, or if you have kids or a partner, you don't need your partner or your kids to fulfill that void. So it's a very loving space. So nice job. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. So welcome, sir. All right. We will go to, so let's just talk about that for a second, and then we'll go to Shani here. Just give me a second. So, all right. So when kids lose their parents, whether, they died or they got divorced, that really distorts people. Right. So what happens is, when kids lose their parents like that, there's always a void. You always need, say, you always need an iconic figure, because that's part of your genetic makeup. You can't keep that a void, no matter what you do. So some people, they have stepfathers, stepmothers, and then that doesn't work out either. That doesn't work out as well. Because you're trying to fulfill it, say, at a physical level. And that's the problem. You're trying to fulfill it at a physical level. But what you really need is the frequency level. Again, the core level of your identity. That core level needs a nurturing masculine identity. Okay? I don't care what today's society thinks. You need a nurturing masculine and you need a nurturing feminine. In today's talk, we're talking about the father figure. So it's a nurturing masculine identity that's always needed. No matter what the state of society is, you have to go back to your basic, say, ideas or concepts of who you are as a human. And as a human, again, you have, say, animalistic qualities, because, again, you are pretty much an animal, a highly realized animal. Okay? I'm not cutting humanity down, but again, a lot of our concepts of who we are of an innate physical nature. In today's society, we start to remove all that stuff, and then we become mostly like objects. Okay, and it's really disturbing. So what's needed in today's society, again, is those kids having a strong icon. And again, in today's society, there is no strong icon of being a masculine figure or a feminine figure. And it's not about your physical, say, features of man or woman. It literally is the frequency behind that. Right. So, all right. So we'll go over to Shani, and then we'll go over to James. Hey, Shani, how are you? Shani, I just have to hand it to you.
Hi, Moss. I'm good.
Yeah, before we start, honey, I just have to hand it to you where you were before in a very short time. And I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like you've gone through a lot of therapies in the past before you met XI, and again, I'm not saying I'm not saying that they're not good, but they didn't get you to the level that XI did in a very short period of time. Is that fair to say for you? Okay.
Yes.
So can I just talk a little bit about your background, hon, if you don't mind, and correct me if I get it wrong? Because again, just like who was it? Selma. Just like Selma, your file system is being grayed out again. So congratulations. Not at the level where Selma was, but you're starting to remove the old identities of who Shani is, which is really fantastic. So just like, close your eyes, take a breath in, hon, and notice your throat and your collarbone. Okay. So imagine, again, you have a phone and it's really, really old, right? Because your identity, Shani, was really, really old, right? Your identities came from your grandparents, mostly your grandparents. It's interesting. I don't know if your parents didn't raise you, but it feels like your grandparents were the nurturing people in your family. If that makes sense for you, I don't know if that makes sense or.
That's funny because they lived far away and we couldn't really see them a lot, but they were more stable and I had to help my mom and dad from afar, so maybe that's why. Like,
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So yeah, I see your grandparents again more of a stable identity than your parents. Okay. So take a breath in, close your eyes, hon. So, okay. So your phone, again, a really, really old model. And then what you've done with XI, despite, you going to all the different modalities, even taking, medications and all that for some of the issues that, you've had in the past, like multiple identities from what I'm seeing and all that stuff that they talk about. And you can talk about it more, it's your story, not mine, if you'd like. But again, multiple identities, not knowing who you are, not even identifying yourself as sometimes as a female or a masculine identity, or not being sure about that identity, if that makes sense for you. So all those iconic, say, reference points that we need to stabilize ourselves as human in today's society. Okay, those are all, say, washed away in today's society, and it's very, very confusing. So whether it's a conspiracy theory or not, that's what's happening. That's why you see today's society all over the board, right? People really don't know who the hell they are. Okay, even heterosexuals. It's not just like those people. Literally, even heterosexuals are getting disoriented on who they are. Okay, so breath in, hon. So imagine the cell phone. It's really, really old. Okay, it's like the old flip phones. The original flip phones. That was your identity of the past. Okay, what you've done with XI, hon, and I'm so proud of you, hon. So give yourself a hug for me, hon, or a high five. Is that it's like hell. I don't want to run that. I don't want to be that old identity anymore. This is where you might have felt like an outcast in your own skin, even, or an outcast with, your friends, or, you go to places, people of your age, you would feel like removed, or again, an outcast. Again, it's not the way you look. You're beautiful. But the point is that it's an old phone, and people look at your phone as like, shit, man, she's out of date. Right? So your frequency would be out of date. That's the problem. Take a breath in. Huh? So what you've done with XI is like, shit, man. I've got the newest, latest model of whatever phone, iPhone or Galaxy, whatever you choose. But it's the latest model. Okay, the latest gadget. So congratulations on that. And again, just like Selma, you're pulling in those identities that are necessary for you. You're learning from, say, your grandparents, what made them strong, what made them stable. You're also learning from your parents and why they weren't there for you, or why they weren't stable, rather than you trying to, say, figure out, or being hurt emotionally on, yeah, my parents weren't there. And then you have that emotional icon or emotional, say, badge of courage. Is like, well, my parents aren't there. That's why my life can be fucked up. Okay. By the way, that was your emotional badge. Does that make sense? This didn't happen to me. Therefore, I can be, I can have problems. And then you realize it's like, well, shit. Yeah, I can have problems. I can wear that as a badge. I can show that to society, and they might feel sorry for me or whatever. But it's like, it's not doing me any good. So you stood up and going, damn, I am creating my whole self, my whole identity on my own. I am the master of my life right now. How does that feel for you, hon?
um, everything, the whole experience you explained, it's a lot more, like you said, like there's finally a solution. I knew for such a long time. I actually stopped going to regular therapy and doctors and have just thrown myself into XI. So, yeah. Um,
It's a little scary because you've never been in so much control of your own life. Okay. So I mean, and this should have been happening when you were 7 or 8 years old. So just give yourself a little love, give yourself a lot of credit to where you've gotten for, honey, because it's huge. People that ran your patterns in the past never get out of therapy. They're 60, 70 years
yeah.
old. and they've never gotten out of therapy. They're on huge doses of medications and so on. So what you've transpired, and how long have you been with Xion?
It's been maybe a year and a half, maybe, or just
Holy
over
shit.
a year.
Yeah, that's not even that long compared to some of the issues that you've had. Again, these are like decades long issues that people never conquer. They just keep
Yeah,
recycling themselves, you know. So again, congratulate yourself. You could, Shani, not where you are right now, but I would say, you know, you continue to do the XI work. The mastery starts to come in. Again, you're new. You're starting to, you know, when you master your life or when you take charge of your life, it's a little awkward for you because you've never been in charge of anything in the past before.
mm-hmm.
So you know, it's like now you're handed the reins. It's like, here, Shane, it's your life now. This is where I would take, and this is what I'm helping you with frequency wise. Again, not to, you can always learn from the outside of what to do and what not to do, but frequency wise, helping you guide you so that learning process is faster, it's easier for you. You have more courage in you. You have more, say, self-deserving patterns in you, which is really, really fantastic. Breath in again, hon. All right. So again, it's a little awkward for you in the beginning because you're taking the reins. You've never really driven. For example, it's like somebody handing you the keys. And it's like, Shani, here you go. You can drive now. And at your age, you've never driven a car before. So it's going to be a
Yeah,
little awkward. That's all. You know, but then in a very short time, as you know, become more and more exponentially intelligent, it's like, shit, driving is pretty easy. It's like, hey, handling my life is pretty easy. And this is where more and more confidence comes, and then we can speed that up. You know, you can speed that process up. I would, in what I was going to say as we end, Sweetie, is that take a breath in, huh? All right,
is it okay if I bring up one thing?
absolutely, yes.
So, and we might have already covered it. I'm not sure in just
Mhm.
the 18 days and stuff, but I know that as far as daddy issues, the relationship with my father and the dynamics growing up really just
Mhm.
ruined intimacy and like fear of being seen
Yes.
and fear of men. And I think
Yep.
that also contributes to me putting on protection or feeling like I need protection
Yeah.
or I'm not safe.
Yep. Yeah, and I briefly talked about it. You know, your daddy issues came from the relationship between your mom and dad. So none of them were strong icons, you know. Again, that's why you referred back to your grandfather, despite the fact that they were further away from you. Okay. So in this case,
Yeah.
again, as you come into yourself, you know, being abused or sexually taken advantage of and all that stuff, again, since your pattern isn't there anymore, you'll be more solid and more secure. So yes, so that was covered for you. Okay, huh? So which is really great. You'll feel more safe and secure within your own skin, by the way. And as you go out in public, you'll feel more safe and secure and part of, say, the group, but again, the safe part of the group, not a distorted version of that group or the abusive. You know, you get into a group and then you get abused, right? You're not running that abusive pattern anymore. So that identity, again, is a stronger identity of yourself. And this is where you can be comfortable in groups or in social situations. So, absolutely. Okay.
Do you know if it'll help with my weight that I've packed on?
Well, your weight, again, that's all iconic to, you know, your father not really liking women or, you know, suppressing women, so to speak. And I just want to talk about that in just a bit. So when fathers have daughters, and they're very insecure or very weak on the inside, what they do is they not only suppress their partner, but then they envy their daughters, or they suppress their daughters so they can feel in control. Hence your situation, Shady. So in this situation, again, fathers need to be an iconic figure. These fathers, these men could be, again, heroes of industry, but they're very, very weak on the inside. A lot of times the A-type behavior that a lot of men elicit, you know, that A type, that's what got them successful. That's what, you know, closed the sale. That's what, whatever. They come home and they're so aggressive because they're so weak on the inside. Okay? It's a very dangerous frequency, right? And then what do they have to do? They have to push on to get to the next sale. They have to do this. They come back into the family, and it's like they feel really, really weak inside because all their, say, weaknesses come up within the family, within the nucleus of the family. And then what do? They have to push on the women because in this case, unfortunately, in your case specifically, but they can push on you know, on their sons as well. But in this case, you know, you're a woman, and then they did start to demean the woman because it's easy, because people have done it through, you know, the centuries, you know, demeaning women as creating women as property. And that's where your self-worth has really been diminished, Shani. So in this scenario, again, those icons of industry who look like icons of industry, a lot of those guys, they're just weak. They're very, very weak. They have to have, say, this polished outer look. They have to have the bigger cars. They have to have that, like in Dubai, that license plate that says one, and they'll pay millions of dollars for them, because at the home level, they're very weak. They're very cheap material. Right. So yes. So and then so your weight issues and all that comes from that perspective on. Okay. So as you define who you are, you're self-deserving, then what happens for you, Shani, is that you go, gosh, you know what? I don't need this weight to propel the image that my father had about me. Okay. And that's where, again, you start to, you know, diet properly, exercise properly, and all that. Right. So we have to move on, huh? We'll go to James, but honey, congratulations. Beautiful job. Beautiful job. You're so welcome, sweetie, hon. So happy for you. All right, we'll go to James. So again, you know, icons of industry, and you know, I really have, I guess, I really have a problem. Right before I get to you, James, I really have a problem with that, because these people, these leaders, you know, I was in Barcelona and I was, you know, waiting to get on the plane, and you know, they have the TV with the news and all that stuff, and all these political leaders, and I'm looking at them, and it's like, oh shit, that guy looks like a pedophile. Oh, that guy looks like, you know, he part of the you know, Epstein Island thing, and so on and so on and so on. And these are leaders of all these countries. I don't know what it was, a UN convention or something like that. And I'm going, holy shit, man. I can read frequencies. I don't care who they are. You know, I'm going, what the fuck? And these guys are leading. These guys are leaders of the world. Well, why do you think we're in the situation that we're in today, guys? So, guys, leaders of the world, man, fucking step it up, man. Get rid of your shit and then lead properly. Okay. And I don't care who you are. You can come talk to me one-on-one. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, come talk to me one-on-one. I don't care who you are. Putin, you know, Sleepy Joe, Trump, whoever it is. Again, be real men. Be real icons of men at your family level, okay? And then go out and lead the world. That's what people really need. All right. So back to James. Hey, James, how you doing, buddy? Sorry, I had to rant a little bit, James. You always, I don't know, James, about you, buddy. You always bring out that rah, let's go attitude. I like that in you, which I want to actually talk about, if you don't mind, about you. All right. So in the past, okay, and this is what kind of confused you for a little bit. In the past, James, you wanted to get away from, say, your father, so to speak, or that masculine identity. You wanted to prove to yourself that you are, again, an iconic man. Does that make sense to you? James, are you there? James, I think he froze. Yeah. So James is frozen. So anyway, I'll keep talking. And James, if you miss out, I guess just listen to the recording. Yeah, I guess that's what we'll do. So anyway, so in James' issue, or James' pattern, again, is a hurt child, right? And then what do guys like James, like millions of guys that go, they're a hurt child. What they do is they literally secure that child. Okay, they save. Oops, you cut out. So we'll just keep talking, and he'll connect anyway. And then when he comes back, maybe I'll read him, but I'll still read him anyway. Here he is. Hey, buddy, can you hear me now? All right. So what I was saying, I don't know if you heard me or not, but basically, you're a very hurt child deep inside. Okay. And this is really, really important. It's so important for society and for men to hear, and women as well, especially mothers of these, of these men or boys. Take a breath in, buddy. Just notice your chest area. Okay. So again, you're a hurt kid, especially around 6, 7 years old, I would say. And then by the time you're 6 or 7, it's like, shit, man, I got to defend myself. Right. So what do? You the way you defend yourself, or the way, like James running these patterns, is that it's like they take that child and they keep them secure inside them. Okay. Say that some catastrophe is coming, and you're carrying your child. Right? You're carrying your infant. What do you do to that child? You cover that child up so they don't get hurt. You tuck them in. That makes sense for you, right? And then whatever happens, right? But you save your child. All right. So basically, James, you were the parent to your child. Take a breath in, my friend. You saved your own ass when you were around 6 or 7. The point is that identity is so, say, influential. It's dented your icon of who you are. You're always having to save your own ass over and over and over, or protecting your space. Does that make sense for you? Okay, so that's step 1. So how old are you, buddy?
31.
Okay, you're 31. You're still protecting a 7-year-old James.
Can we all right, well.
Does that make sense for you, buddy?
Yeah, let's tidy that up, because
okay,
yeah,
perfect. I love it. Well, this affects your relationships, because you get into relationships, you get to, you become vulnerable. But then what happens is like, if I become vulnerable, then that kid is not safe. So you've created a great safety mechanism, buddy. But here's the key. Here's the rub on that. Take a breath in. So men that run societies or become leaders in this fashion, again, whether they're CEOs, starting their own business, starting their own family, whatever it is, or just, a career person, what happens is that, one, they become very nurturing to people. So you're always fighting for other people's rights. That makes sense for you. Take a breath in.
Yeah, I've kind of got.
Or you used to.
I've recently got to a point where I'm like, whatever. Fuck, I don't really care. like I care.
That's good. Yeah.
Like,
but back in the day, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, that's not
hell
right.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay.
So think of this. Guys that are like this, it's like, hey, that's not right. I'm going to go right society. Okay, James, sounds kind of crazy, but okay. So you run a pattern of a dictator. It's kind of weird, but just take a breath in. Let me explain, because it'll take you far, and we'll do it the right way. Okay.
Yeah.
So whether you're a dictator or like an iconic leader, not Steve Jobs, but a little similar to that. People like that. Okay. It's like, hey, this isn't right. I'm going to make it right. Okay. So say people, leaders who want to free their country. Okay. Venezuela or whatever country, Pablo Escobar, right? This isn't right. I'm going to free my country. I'm going to free my people. Right? They look very charismatic. They look very iconic. They're doing the right things. But then what happens is, as they get momentum and as they become more and more and more in power, they actually start to lose, because power is a magnifier. Wealth, money, and all that becomes a magnifier. And as it magnifies, it's like, wait a second, shit, what is my purpose here? And then that purpose, you have to stoke the fire of your purpose or the original reason why you became such a freedom fighter, so to speak. Okay. So what happens is that purpose, you don't switch it over. So although it became a great starting point for you, you didn't switch it over. Okay. In another scenario, say that you're a nerd in school. Okay, pushed around, bullied around. Well, shit, I'm going to create, and you're highly intelligent. It's like, I'm going to show people that I'm not a nerd. So you become, a CEO of a high-tech company. What happens? You still get pushed around by your money, by your fortune, by your fame. So you abuse your family, you abuse, you abuse your employees, and so on and so on and so on. Dictators on this case, and again, if you want specifics on that, why it's a dictator type pattern, because you have it's not just about you, James, that you're trying to free yourself from or save or protect yourself from. That's why I call it a dictator pattern. Again, dictatorship done wrong. Okay. So you've got great strength, by the way, you've got great momentum to be called that level. So congratulate yourself on that. But let's remove the dictator type feel to that. Okay. And that's what we're doing today here. Take a breath in. Okay. So let me just explain the dictator type pattern for you all. So again, you have this person, you're a teenage kid, you're in Nicaragua, Venezuela, and all those, despite, what the US does to those countries and all that stuff. I don't want to get into that. But, there's that need, right? Or, the Islamic, scenarios, right? Where they're fighting for their freedom and so on. So what they do is that, again, they have a strong sense of identity. And it's not it's not just their identity that they're fighting for. It is, say, their religion's identity, their people's identities, their culture's identities. It's a strong force, hence a dictator type frequency. Okay, they're not just doing it for themselves. They will die to create freedom for themselves. By the way, many people have. Right? They didn't get into that dictatorship level, but like I said, as they become into a dictator level, or that the way to maintain that level, what do they have to do? They have to, say, stoke that fire of inequality to keep them in control. Now, think of the leaders in industry, in religions, in whatever leaders they are, men or women, but in this case, men. Okay? They have to keep stoking that fire. So what do? They become dictators to the people that they're saving. So the point here, James, is that you have great potential, but you're also highly aware of who you are. And you're going, if I go to the next level of who I am, a grander version, more success, that means that this pattern that stokes the fire, I have to put more wood into that fire that I do not want. It's literally a vicious circle. Does that make sense for you?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so take a breath in, my friend, and we'll just talk about this a little bit more. And obviously, these are deep, deep father issues. Not like my dad didn't play baseball with me on Sundays. He never played catch with me. I mean, those are all surface level father issues. That's great, but again, if you fix the deeper father issues, those things are, just, you can take those not for granted, but those are just a given. By the way. Okay. So, all right. So in this scenario, take a breath in. So dictator frequency, or again, a nerd frequency, if you want to call it that. At some level, that horse, let's just call it a horse. Okay. You got onto that horse. It took you to a point. But what happens is people never get off that horse. And they keep going. And then that horse becomes a burden. It's a tool that you use to get you to where you got. But now you can't use that tool anymore. You have to let go of that reference point on, say, why. Does that make sense for you? Okay. So take a breath in. This is where you would have like financial issues. And another thing with you is that men, especially, you've worked in a, self-improvement industry and all that. And you look at those people, they're iconic figures on the outside, but you know them on the inside. It's like, shit, man, they're two different people. They're two different. It's like, I don't want that. So does that make sense for you? And again, some of the top dogs in the industry is like, that's not who they really are on the inside. I don't want to be that. So you being a young man going, that's my future. I don't want that future. So you have struggles, again, keeping with money, so to speak. Does that make sense? Because if you want that success, then literally it's like you're selling your soul at some level. But you want to be that iconic man, right? That literally does save people. So it's a huge issue for a lot of people, a lot of young men like you going, God. And unfortunately, the seduction is so powerful to be in fortune and fame and all that, so unfortunately, a lot of young men sell themselves out. And then again, they become imprisoned later on. That's what you don't want. So does that make sense for you, my friend?
Yeah, no, I definitely. Yeah, it's come up quite a lot. Like I've, in client sessions, I'm always like, it's not me. Like I refer to you. I refer to like I'm not. That's like the biggest thing. I'm like, I am not selling myself ever. I don't care what temptation. I don't care. It's like, no, don't care. Like, I'm not.
So let's rewrite the math. Is your math of success is like, if I become successful, that means I have to sell myself out to be like them.
Nice. Yep.
It's like, fuck that. Can we just scratch that? Just in your mind's eye, and whoever's listening, watching, just in your mind, just have that, that equation and just scratch it out, or write it out. For some of you, James, I would actually have you write it out because you're a little more physical. Write it out on if I did this equals this. If I want this, what would I have to do? So again, a lot of people who are, say, goal setters, it's like, oh, I want this. Basically what you're doing is like, what do I have to sacrifice? You're equaling the equation. And again, you don't have to equal that equation. You don't have to sacrifice or exchange. Whenever you're exchanging, whatever that you get, billions of dollars, whatever it is, the girl that you want, all that is never going to be worth it. Just note that. And that's what you're struggling with, by the way. So a lot of your equations that operate your life, buddy, keep writing them down because they'll show up for you. It's like, oh, that's why, like relationships. If I'm in a relationship, I have to do this, 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 this. If I want money or success, I have to do this, 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 this. It's all coming out for you, isn't it? So
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the whole relationship, yeah. So I have to sell myself in a relationship. I don't want to lose myself in a relationship.
Exactly.
Or, even the recent success that I've had in my business, like, oh, don't want to get too big or else I'll get fucked up. Don't want to.
My point.
That's literally it. And I kind of did a little bit. I was like, whoa, this is too hectic. But again, formula. So.
Exactly. So now that you understand it, you can get big and still be, say, the proper husband, the proper father, the proper leader. I see you as a leader, but leaders, true leaders, they go through a lot more stuff at a very deep intrinsic level. Fake leaders, they go through a lot of stuff at a external level. But again, real leaders, they go inside and they clean themselves out. And that's what I see you, James. So really nice job, my friend. Good job.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, buddy. We're good. Yeah.
Is there anything that I mean, other than writing it? I mean, is it obviously just observing?
Yeah, writing it, write it, and then 3-4 days later, look back at the formulas, and then write some more, and you'll start to go, that's not me. It won't make sense for you cognitively. So what I was doing for you, frequency-wise, changing it, so you can write it out and see the difference, and then 3-4 days later, come back to what you wrote, and it's like, yep. And then about a week or so later, it's like, that's not even me anymore. You'll see it's like, shit, and then that gives you a signal that your formulas have changed. And if you want, you can write your new formulas down. Okay. So, really nice job. Nice.
Awesome.
Very good.
Thanks, man.
All right, guys. You bet, buddy. All right, guys. Crazy stuff, right? This is what, most people don't talk about because shit, they don't even know what's going on, by the way. So, all right. So we'll take some of your calls. Okay. Yeah. So we'll take. I can't see the comments. Damn it. Having some technical issues here, guys. Demi, can you just read some of the comments that I can answer? Because I can't. For some reason, guys, I can't see the comments. Nope. No, it's a new system. For some reason, overcoming data issues. It's weird. Yeah, just read me, if you can, just read me some of the comments, please. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of. Yeah, it's really weird. Okay. Okay, so Michelle, again, so the tech team, just I can't read the comments for some reason. So Michelle, it says, just please scan me. Sure, and this is again, I always stress it's like I don't have psychic abilities because psychic abilities cannot do what I do. Right, very very different, and much more powerful, and much more accurate. So what I'm doing is actually I'm reading Michelle through Megan, that is telling me to. Michelle's comment is please read me, and I don't even know your last name, Michelle. So again, how does that work? Right? Take a deep breath in, Michelle. All right. So Michelle, it seems as of late you've actually identified who you are as a person. Okay. In the past, you're always in your head. I don't know if you've got like frontal. I'm not a doctor or anything like that. It's almost like you have front pressure in your brain. So again, physically, you might want to check that out. I'm not saying you have any issues, but you just want to check that out. There's just a lot of pressure. And sometimes that pressure is like, I need to be somebody, you know what I mean? So what you do, Michelle, is literally your frequency, when I see you, is like you're pushing out to say, represent yourself in physical form. If that makes sense. If you meet somebody, for example, your frequencies, these are your frequencies, not your physical body, you, Michelle, and then somebody else. So to identify who you are or to have a conversation with that people, you literally morph and then you push your frequency from the forehead in front of that person, so to speak. You are behind that. So it's kind of a weird thing, but what happens is that when they see that, you don't really connect with people really well, because it's like, well, wait a second, your frequency is here, but your body is back here. And then it kind of disorients you, and then your body actually becomes invisible. So you as a person might feel invisible within your body or incomplete. And then you're going, well, who am I? I'm trying to find who I am. So again, because you're always going forward in time to render yourself. It doesn't work out that way. So what I'm helping you with, take a breath in. So notice the forehead area, notice the neck, notice your spine, notice your back end, notice your back of your legs, notice your heels. Let's just pull you back in. Sometimes when we do this is because it's too fearful to be in your body. If it's too fearful to be in your body, it's like, well, shit, I want to go to safety. So you're running for safety. Your house is on fire. And I don't know if your house was actually, oh yeah, there's some kind of danger that you saw when you were a young kid and you had to like escape. Okay. So again, it could be a physical danger, but in this case, it's more of a, like, your house burning on fire. I think that might have happened, by the way, or something like that. You had to escape a house, but it's like your physical body, you literally left, or, oh, that's what it is. Somebody actually in your family died, trapped, and they couldn't get out and they died. So frequency wise, their body got, say, burned in this case, and then frequency wise, they escaped. What's weird about that, it became a genetic pattern for you. So 2 generations back, Michelle, somebody died trying to escape, so to speak. You have an escape feature within you because of what happened 2-3 generations ago. Okay, so what I was helping you with, one, put them to, say, rest, and then for you, Michelle, putting you in your body so you feel calm or safe and secure. That makes sense. It's a huge pattern that can be fixed just like that. Michelle, so comment in on how you feel. We'll take one more, and then we'll call it a day. Okay, sure. So Amanda, yesterday was the anniversary of your her dad's death. So take a breath in, hon. So death. All right. So take a breath in. I'll tell you this story. It's really a sad story that doesn't have to happen, but it's happening in today's world. All right. So his friend I know, he had, he's got a son. His son is very empathic. It's like, Dad, I just feel something's going to go wrong, and so on. So he goes away and he gets this call that his friend committed suicide. A young girl of 16. Take a breath in. Okay, so, and again, Amanda, I'm working on your father, but this kind of relates to this. Not the suicide part, but how people get entrained. So this girl, young girl of 16, she was a caretaker of her grandma. Okay. And grandma is very loving and so on like that, but they're so loving that there's no boundaries in between. It's those kind of families. They're so loving that there is no boundaries between one person or the other. That's the problem with those kind of families. Again, they're super loving, super nurturing. They can't live without each other. Those kind of patterns. Somebody dies, it's like that other person dies right sooner than later. Those kind of patterns. Again, it sounds great on the outside, not so great frequency wise, and it really distorts you. You can still be close, but in a very different way. So when I saw her, when my good friend was talking about her, she was, there was her grandmother, her grandfather, her mom was like literally pushing into her. I posted this image of a tree, 2 trees really close together on my front lawn, and they're just like pushing into each other like that. Yeah. So it's literally similar like that. Frequency wise, when I see you, close your eyes, guys, take a breath in. Man, especially you, take a breath in. All right. There we go. So imagine your body, okay? And imagine your personal space, but arm's length around you. Okay. Imagine your father, Amanda. Okay. Again, really attached to your father. But with the XI work, and I'll just get to that in a second. So imagine your father's personal space, and then those two, imagine, them overlaid over each other. Okay. Because they're older, because they're closer to death, they start to rule and control you, Amanda. So that's why you need that pattern. So what you've done with XI, which I congratulate you on, is like, you know what? So okay, so I'll just back up a bit. So what happens when that person dies, their essence starts to come into you. But what you've done with XI, Amanda, is like you've created a presence of yourself again. Your self-identity or your personal space, basically. You've recreated that of your own, what Amanda is. So you've taken the best for your father, right, of your father, made it your own, okay? I kind of see like his eyes or the sides of his eyes, I think, are like these parts of your eyes are your father's, by the way. There's something important that I want to talk about. Anyway, so what you've done is, again, father's identities, genetic patterns, mom's genetic patterns, you've gone, oh, these, I'll take the best and make it my own. So whatever you've done with XI, that's it's allowed you to do that. So with your father's, say, anniversary, it's the original or the real burial of your father. Right? The physical burial happened a year ago, but in this case, frequency burial, basically an awakened death. Your father is off in a great place. You can expand onto whatever he brought forth into this reality, the good stuff, and move it forward. It'll help your kids if you have kids. I think you've got two. Yeah, two. Yeah. So, which is really beautiful. So really nice job, Amanda. Yeah. Yeah. So take a look at these parts and you'll go, gosh, that's my father's. And then it'll disappear and it'll be your own version of these parts of your eyes. All right. All right. Kind of crazy, right? Crazy stuff, frequencies. But, you know, frequencies are the core level of everything about this reality. Once you understand frequencies, the world of frequencies, you know, by becoming exponentially intelligent or studying XI science, you'll start to understand the real reasons why and stuff happens. And it's not just about human nature or anything like that. Nowadays, you know, working on quantum computers. We're all quantum computers, you know, we're very efficient quantum computers running around. So you change your frequency. And now, you know, we're changing quantum computers frequencies, which is really, really cool. And it also gets into, you know, like Terrence Howard, you know, and you know, Neil deGrasse, he had some comments on Terrence Howard and so on like that. I'll be posting some videos, by the way, on my view from exponential intelligence science view, a very new science that actually really explains on how things happen. So take a look at that. That is on a new channel called the XI Code, and it's going to be about the science of XI. So again, please subscribe to the XI Code. And we're also going to have podcast coming out. Good, great to limitless. Okay, that's on the XI Code as well. Okay, frequency spot coming up June 27th. And July through December frequency spot subscriptions coming up for you as well. So take a look at that. It's a great way to stay youthful and young. Not just, you know, at a physical level, but at an internal level. So your genetic makeup. This is, again, you don't have to age like your parents or society does. Also, Mindscapes Unleashed for those who are into microdosing, really allowing microdosing, or if you're into psychedelic journeys, if you're gonna take a psychedelic journey, you know, with ayahuasca or whatever, you know, mushrooms or whatever that you're going to use on your journey, you want to take this course. It's literally it's a training course on how to do psychedelics properly, right? It'll save your life. Many individuals, a lot of times people go on these psychedelic journeys and they get so messed up. Sometimes they have great experiences and so on like that, but over time, again, most people get messed up or they don't get the full benefit of what psychedelics are all about. Right? And even if you're not doing psychedelics, by the way, this course will help you mimic the opportunities of what psychedelics can offer you in a safe way without you doing the psychedelics. So if you're doing psychedelics or you're not, again, this will help you get into those optimal altered states that, you know, Elon Musk and a lot of those individuals, you know, want to seek, by the way. So that's coming up for you as well. So take a look at that. All right. All right, guys, as we end, notice what you notice the detail of what you're noticing. Peace.